Hi, dealing with today's thought. If you live in a red state, this is not going to affect you, I'm pretty sure. But if you live in a blue state, a liberal state, such as New York or California, you may have been hearing some strange explosions that you haven't been able to explain. And just to start out today's thought, those are liberal heads exploding, okay? So if you're unfortunate enough to be next, well, certainly if you're a liberal whose head has exploded, I'm really sorry that happened. If you're near some liberal whose head explodes, you want to kind of back off as quickly as possible, because wait till the explosion subsides before you get close, because blood is really hard to get out of your clothes, if you didn't know that. But the reason these heads are exploding, these liberal heads, is because the Supreme Court a few days ago agreed to hear Trump's case that he cannot be prosecuted for any acts, even that he, criminal acts that he may have committed while president, because that he's immune from such prosecutions. Now, the Supreme Court agreed to hear this case, and liberal heads are exploding because this is going to delay Trump's trials, all these many trials. There's, one for sure, the one in Washington for causing an insurrection, right? That's one that's definitely not going to take place before the election, but the other ones probably won't either. There is now talk that the the Florida case about the classified documents, that the judge may want to wait until the Supreme Court renders its decision. The case won't even be heard until April, and then the decision usually, it should come in late June, and then it'll be, you have to pick a jury, you have discovery, all the processes that you go through to hold a trial. So there's no way. Plus the Justice Department, if they're honest, which this is Biden Justice Department, I don't know if they are, but the policy has always been that when you're close to an election, not to pursue a case against a candidate, because that could, the fact of pursuing the case could affect the election. And the person being prosecuted could be found innocent, and that would happen after the election. And that's kind of what we'll be getting to today, because liberal heads are, the irony is that they're freaking out because they say, well, this is Trump's plan to delay all these trials till after the election. He's won and he's won on that. He's going to succeed on that. Well, first of all, I don't believe that's true. His strategy is to win all these cases, okay? Win or have them dismissed, not just merely delay them. But the irony is what the Democrats are doing is lawfare. All these cases are being brought by Democrats, and they are to damage Trump. They are to delay, they're mainly just to damage Trump. I said delay. What I meant was to convict Trump of a crime before the election, and then affect the election. It's election interference, and also to bleed him dry, to make him spell, well, we've got that $350 million with interest, $465 million, I think it's up to now, that he has to pay just to appeal this ridiculous suit in New York. Now, I don't want to get off on these other cases. I just want to make the point that the Democrats are interfering in the election. They are trying, if it were anybody else but Donald Trump, and the governor of New York has actually said that, Kathy Hochul, she went on, she made a public statement, because businesses that were going to invest in New York, now they're not going to, investors, and then especially real estate, businesses have been leaving New York, and now this looks like it's accelerating the process. And she had to go on and say, no, don't leave. It's not going to affect you, because, well, she didn't say it outright, but because you're not Donald Trump. This is an attack on Donald Trump, and the damage, this would be another vlog. I'll probably pick up on this in a few months, or maybe a year, when we really see the effects of this horrendous decision. Unless, I predicted it'll be reversed by a higher court, and that's the point I want to make. I titled this vlog, this thought for today, that this would be a real travesty to convict Trump of a crime before the election. Now, first of all, as I said, this would not be happening to Donald Trump. This case, the one in Washington about participating in insurrection. There are 13 million documents that they have to go, that Trump's defense has to go through. And you can't go through them in Jack Smith, the prosecutor, or the special counsel. He originally, and this is another question coming up, I think the Supreme Court, as part of this case, is going to take out that the whole appointment of Jack Smith in the first place, which to Biden's benefit would also affect the appointment of her, the special counsel that was investigating Biden for classified documents, that their appointments are unconstitutional because there's no special there's no law in Congress that was passed on how to appoint special counsel. The way it is, the special counsel would be an officer of the Supreme Court and an officer of the United States. It has to be appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, and none of these things happened. It was Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who appointed all of these, the three, and there's David Weiss is the other one, so all three of the special counsels were appointed by David Weiss. Now, the reason, now we'll get to the meat of this, if you've been waiting, sitting on the edge of your seat, were the injustice. I said in the title to this thought for today, that it would be a travesty of justice to convict Trump of a crime before the election. And that is because the crime, there is, number one, no reason to do it. If it were anybody but Donald Trump, what is the hurry? What is a hurry? You can give the defense the time that they need. What is a hurry? Unless you're on a timetable to convict Donald Trump, damage him before the election. That's number one. But number two, if a trial and conviction were to happen before the election, one thing we know for sure, I mean, we can debate now whether, it looks like it won't happen before the election, but one thing that is not debatable is that any appeal would happen after the election. And sometimes if something goes up to the Supreme Court, then you're talking about you're talking about the circuit court in Washington, D.C. or wherever, and then the Supreme Court. But any appeal would happen after the election. So imagine this scenario. And I wish I were popular enough to be on ABC, because George Stephanopoulos on ABC, he was opining on this, and a lot of these talking heads were, and I would ask them, okay, so imagine this scenario. Trump is convicted before the election. The election happens, and because of this conviction, Trump loses, he appeals, and he wins. And then the guilty verdict is overturned, and he is innocent. But by then, the election is too late. By then it's too late because the election is over. Now, how is that? And given his age, he will definitely be too old to run in 2028, I would imagine. I wouldn't put it past him, but his support would be so strong by that point. But you can see the injustice there. You can see the injustice of trying, because you don't know for certain that he is guilty unless he decides not to appeal, which I cannot imagine happening. So until all the appeals are exhausted, we don't know that he is guilty. And again, it would be a travesty to find him guilty before the election and then find him innocent after the election, by which time it's too late. But Democrats won't care, because they don't care that it's they don't care about justice. They don't care. All they care about is power and defeating Republicans, and they don't care how they do it. Which I'll end on this. So you Republicans, you Republican National Committee, you better have the lawyers out there, because they are going to try the mass mailing of ballots, allowing ballots to be counted when they're late, or if they come with return addresses or proper signatures, abbreviated signature checking, if any at all, and on and on and on. And well, Biden is already doing it. He's already wants to use your tax dollars to pay students to go out and register voters, and we can be pretty sure where they will go and which voters they will register. And I guarantee it's not going to be in the conservative parts of the country, to where most of the applicants would be conservatives. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.